Welcome to another of the On the Water Northeast Offshore reports. Cheech is recording from our office back there in Falmouth. I am actually very far from the ocean in Chicago, where I am for wedding. But 24 hours ago, we were out on the Atlantic catching yellowfin tuna. And the past week's been pretty good. We didn't know what to expect. There were supposed to be some more storms last weekend. They kind of spared us. I don't know if we're going to be so lucky next week. But the past week of tuna fishing has been fantastic, from Jersey on up to I'd say Maine.
Yeah, it's yesterday was awesome. It's been great. I'm literally randomly finding tuna scales on my legs 2 showers later, so it was a good trip. Obviously, have you heard of anything changing Stellwagen area on wreck size fish, or is it still all giants?
From what I hear, it's been all giants. So bluefin tuna, the commercial fishery for giants, reopened last Friday, and it's been a very active week. There've been a lot of fish weighed in, and a lot of very big fish weighed in. I know there were two different giant tuna tournaments this past week, and I think both of them were won by fish that were just a hair under 800 pounds. And
Wow.
it seemed like everybody going out fishing Cape Cod Bay, fishing Stellwagen. There's plenty of bluefish around for bait, so people have been having prime big bluefish baits, going out there and catching enormous bluefin tuna. A lot of fish, 108 inches, 110 inches. I know our friend Captain Rob Taylor had giant bluefin up to 787 pounds. BJ Sylvia, our other friend out of Flipping Out Charters, he had a giant tuna this week.
I
Just
saw that.
everywhere you look, guys fishing. It's all been north of the Cape as far as I know. I'm sure there's some giants to the east, but fishermen who are looking for a big fish have been hitting Stellwagen, Cape Cod Bay, the usual spots, and catching very big bluefin.
There's been
So
some
I imagine
There's
at
been
this
some
rate, I imagine
giants
it's
in
going
the
to
bay too,
close
like
quick.
inshore structure, like the old whiting grounds. They've been pretty well distributed in all their big fish haunts in Cape Cod Bay, obviously, as well as off the Rhode Island area and those waters.
Yeah, they'll probably burn through that September quota quickly. So at this rate, so I don't know how much giant tuna fishing, at least catch and keep, that there's going to be left. So while it's been all giants north of the Cape, pretty much south of the Cape, there's still recreational sized bluefin. But the big news this week was yellowfin tuna. It seemed like everybody going out fishing, jigging tackle, chunking. I mean, we've been talking about this last year's yellowfin tuna bite since we started these reports, kind of hoping that we'd see a similar thing happen this year. And man, over the last week, I'd say we're seeing it. I saw, and
It's
it's not
happening,
just
Jim.
yeah. I saw a post from New Jersey from Captain Gene Quigley of Shore Catch Charters. He wrote about, like, he said, this season, it's crazy to say, like, the fishing could get even better. And he's like, it just did. I mean, they're seeing big numbers of light tackle yellowfin tuna on their midshore grounds out to the canyons. And then we're seeing them up here in southern New England, where I'd say that kicked off, 2 days ago? You heard from Kevin Gould about him finding a good yellowfin bite. And I guess that went we were on the third day of it since we
Yeah.
heard about it.
So let's back up a little bit. There's been a great mixed bag bite almost all season south of the Vineyard, south of Block Island. So that's been happening inshore, but it's kind of been like mostly jig with a few fish popped. What we're talking about now is an all out popper, just frenzy. Uh, did you bother fishing anything else yesterday? I didn't.
No, I dropped the jig a couple times, but that was when we were doing some other stuff, looking for for either a white marlin or whatever. We once we kind of had our fill of the topwater tuna, we went on some unicorn hunts. But no, I kept the
Not
popper tied
really.
on, and
We didn't actually, like, the Wahoo stuff never left the the front of the boat. It was underneath the deck the entire time. We never even bothered pulling it out. That's how good the yellowfin fishing was. But we did have some really cool encounters that we'll be able to share with you too, because we were filming yesterday. And Jimmy, run us down. Well, let's first start. Kevin Gould reached out. We just did a podcast with him. It's up on the podcast channel. super esteemed friend of On the Waters, always dialed into the fish, always willing to kind of, hey, drop a dime with us and say, hey, this is happening close to home. You, wink, wink. You should go check this out. So first off, thanks to him. So we pulled everything together. We took the 32 regulator, the on the water regulator out with Chris Megan, myself, and Jimmy were on board, and two videographers, Rob Tartaglia was out there, and Tommy, and we didn't think it was going to go all that well because as soon as we roll up to the grounds, the electronics started just shutting off and rebooting and like phantom clicking, and next thing you know, they're incapacitated entirely. We had some electrical bugs, so now we're out there totally blind, can't use radar for birds, can't see below the boat. And that's when I went, uh-oh, I think we're in trouble. So I do want to take this opportunity to give a huge thank you and shout out to Cape Cod Offshore Charters. Captain Rob and Alex Ridgway, both of them were out there kind of fishing on the same intel. We had known that they were heading in that direction as well. And we kind of panicked and reached out saying, hey, we might head in the direction you're heading into, because at that point we hadn't touched the fish yet. Rob said, come on, take up chase, and I'll bring you to the promised land. And then Captain Ridgway hit me up on the inReach and basically was willing to call us in on that bite. But we didn't even get another quarter mile, and it was a couple birds acting birdie, doing bird things, and Jimmy launched a popper into some nervous water and right away got a big boil and absolutely annihilated his Rapala Explode popper, and that kicked things off, Jim. I'll let you kind of pick up from there.
Yeah, I mean, so all summer the bait out there, the main bait had been sand eels. So the fish, the bluefin and yellowfin, have been down deep eating sand eels. You'd catch them, and their bellies would be full of them. There was some squid and butterfish around early in the summer, like when the yellowfin first showed up. One of the trips we took where we caught yellowfin, those had squid and butterfish in it, and then the bluefin had all sand eels. These yellowfin were on the surface actively pushing bait, and there hasn't been a ton of that happening down there of seeing the fish on the surface. Turns out there's a big concentration of juvenile hake, so about 2-inch long hake. That's what's bringing these yellowfin to the surface. When Gould told us about that bite, he says, I think they're on tiny hake out there. And then we caught that first fish on the popper, and it turns out, yeah, man, that the thing spit up hake all over the boat when we were unhooking it. So that's what they were pushing around. Even though and it's funny, you look at these small little hake, they look just like bay anchovies, and you think, man, like if albies were on these, they'd be impossible to get to eat. But that wasn't really the case with the yellowfin.
No.
I think the bigger, the tuna gets, like the less picky it is. Like it's got a big engine, it's got a fuel. So even though it was eating 2-inch baits, had no problem eating the 6 and 7-inch poppers we were throwing at them. I mean, over the course of the day, we probably had, probably 8 or 9 bites. Brought 5 fish to the boat, and
it came tight 5 times. Got those 5 to the boat, and a lot of swirls, misses in the mix. If we hadn't been filming, we probably could have put some numbers up. It was one of those types of days. So that was awesome. Then we were, kind of working a little offshore structure and had a bunch of mahi that had lockjaw, and we quickly found out why they had lockjaw. There was a massive school of peanut mahi. There was some Almaco jacks mixed in, all kinds of, oddities hanging around this offshore structure. And then all of a sudden, it was like something out of a cartoon. And I've seen this out in the canyons. I haven't seen it inshore. All these mahi started just bombing across the surface of the water, and I started freaking out. I'm like, get a bait in the water, get a bait in the water. Because when that happens, you know that there is an apex predator chasing them, and we caught an up-close and personal predation right on the transom of the regulator. Super athletic, super lit up, beautiful. White marlin
unlike the anglers.
Bull rushing, unlike the anglers, came bull rushing the back of the boat.
Oh, white marlin! Get a
and left a hole right off the transom. Got that on film. That was super cool. I'm screaming, grab an eel, because we had some live eels with us. And shame on me, I should have had that live eel on a circle hook already in its bucket, ready to just be lifted out and pitched in front of the direction that white marlin was headed, because it happens so fast. So being ready is really what separates the ones that get that bite to the ones that don't. And my, pea brain looks at it like, at least we have some eels. So what we're going to do is we're going to see a white marlin swimming around all lazy, like, wow, I really wish I could find something to eat right now. And we would, limp up to it and pitch the bait in front of it, and it would eat it. It would jump around on the spinning gear, and it would be awesome. That's not how it happens. So take some advice from your good buddy Cheech. Be ready for something to happen in a split second, because sometimes that's what it takes.
Yeah, I didn't know what we were going to see. You knew something was chasing them. I didn't know if it was going to be a mako shark or a wahoo or a tuna. I mean, I guess marlin was the most logical choice, but also we don't get out there all that often to see stuff like that. Like that was the first time I've ever seen something like that in person. I was more just kind of watching it unfold and thinking about what grabbing
I
a
saw
rod and
it. I
throwing it
saw
in
it
there.
happen once before, and that's all it takes. That's why, as soon as it started happening, I started screaming, "Get a bait in the water!" And after fumbling with that eel, and I think you came in and helped me get a grip on it, because it was mayhem, it was chaos. So be ready for those situations. But super
But we
awesome to
were
see.
ready. We did bring the eels because we heard there have been people who've been encountering white marlin finning on the surface, especially when you have those glass calm days and you can spot them from a mile away. We had a little bit of chop, so it was tougher. We had our eyes peeled the whole ride home looking for them. But some people have done very well getting out there and fishing live baits for them, casting live eels or legal size porgies, or I guess even I've heard bunker, mackerel, pretty much anything you can swim at them. I think
Yep.
they're pretty aggressive predators, but it's all about getting that shot and having a bait ready when you see it. Um,
Absolutely. You mentioned the numbers people are putting up. The most impressive was that boat that went 22 for 30. I heard, not even out in the canyons. It was inshore, kind of in the area that we were fishing. We were fishing in the dump. Probably more inshore than that, even, or at least to the northeast. Yeah, to the northeast from there, they went 22 for 30. Um, and that's kind of, I don't know, that's about as crazy as a number I've heard. I think I mentioned the boat name. That was Rainmaker. They recently won a tournament that they were in a few reports ago. So that boat has had all the juice this season, from what I've heard. I mean, I've mentioned them twice, and it was a big offshore tournament win, and going 22 for 30 on white marlin south of the vineyard. That's pretty intense stuff.
so as we talked about how the tuna bite's kind of changing, how those yellowfin are on some different bait now, we're starting to see some other tactics working as well. Every fall, chunking for tuna is kind of one of the mainstays for them, and I know Anthony DeiCicchi, who's a fisherman out of Connecticut, among some other fishermen, have been taking out butterfish chunks, and that is to some of the other structures where the tuna have been all summer, on that
Well, Jim,
east of
it's
Block
funny you
Island stuff.
mentioned that. It's funny you mentioned that, Jim, because I think this is a good segue for the Facebook report of the report. I'm gonna tee that up right now. This one's from Jeffrey P. Mongen. This was on yesterday, and it was in the Northeast Offshore Pelagic Reports page. So 5 to 10 mile radius of Tuna Ridge they were working, and although others were successful, we could not get a fish on a jig or pop yesterday, so we tried to chunk. We had yellowfin eating chunks within 15 minutes for about an hour. We tried all we could do to catch them. We started with 80-pound fluoro, then moved to 60, 50 pounds, and still nothing. Then we went to 30-pound and caught instantly. We fought the fish for 45 minutes, knowing it was a J hook and very light leader material. As you can see, we won the battle. Set back up, and within 5 minutes of chunking, had a giant 600 to 700 pound range grab the 30-pound chunk bait right at the boat. Absolutely
That
unbelievable
sucks.
sight. But we did not win that battle. LOL. So awesome report there from Jeffrey Mongen. Um, and
Good
carry on,
lesson if
Jim.
you are going. Good lesson if you are going out there chunking. Like that happens, especially during the day. At night, it doesn't matter. You could put that chunk on Dacron probably, and they'd still eat it.
Yeah.
But during the day, like you have to be able to kind of work your way down to get those bites. They can be incredibly line shy. I brought down as low as 40 in case we were going to chunk because the night before I was hoping I could get some chunks. So I had 60, I had 80, 60, 50, and 40. If that were us, dude, we had to go down to 30. We were coming home sad boys. We wouldn't have gotten any. I didn't have any 30 with me, but that's next time, and we'll
I
bring some
had some
butterfish
light
chunks
stuff
out
with
there.
me,
I will.
Jim. I had some
Well,
light
that's
stuff in
good.
the
So
tote box.
that's why we work well together. I was going to say, man, I have to cut this one a little bit short just because I am here for a wedding. I've got some other stuff I've got to take care of today. No matter how much I talk to people and ask them not to, people are still planning weddings during fishing season. So I don't know what's.
Not a problem. We'll wrap this up quick. I have one
Yeah.
more report from the Edge.
Okay.
Brian Weiss, checked in with him at Fishtails. He had an awesome night. 6 sword bites. The first one, he marked it at about 300 feet deep. He was just going over to the rod to kind of tease that sword to bite when everything went slack. Came tight on that fish. Got 5 more bites at night. Wasn't able to make it happen on any of the additional bites he had, but some really cool encounters. One ate a floater squid right off the surface. They had a big tiger eat a floater squid as well. He was chunking throughout the night. He picked up a 60-inch yellowfin that he estimated right around 100 pounds and got a little smaller one. He said the troll bite was kind of slow. Trolling about an hour into dark, he got 2 bites that he definitely thinks were eyeballs. Big eye tuna. One of them on a deep diver. Which happens with deep divers. It pulled the hook pretty quickly. And then another one ate a big eye rocket that was way back, fish behind a bird. And after about 45 minutes, they chafed that one off. So big eye's doing big eye things. But the sword bite at night was awesome. He hit the bottom for some tiles the next day and the flyers for some mahi. So fishtails, although it was slow on the troll, seemed to have a really good sword bite at night. And, to kind of wrap this up, that's the bug I planted in Chris's ear was let's go out there. Let's chunk inshore for yellowfin and then push out, troll into the night a little bit, get to the edge and try to get a sword buttoned up. And he's like, I'm all for it. So now it's on record. He's got to do it. I lost Jimmy. Well, anyways, that's another offshore report. Thanks for tuning in. Feel free to hit us up on the Water Magazine or at Cheech232323 or at James T. Fee on Instagram. Send us reports. Leave them in the comments on the YouTube video. Another offshore report, week ending 9/8/2023, brought to you by SiriusXM Marine. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and hope you have an awesome weekend out there.